Hey everybody, it's Ansel again and welcome back. Today we'll be talking about the QK101 V2 from QWERTYKEYS, and I really quite like this board, but there's a very specific audience for that and we'll get into that just a little bit later. But first, let's talk about the build and the quality and overall design. And first off, this board is built incredibly well. It feels so good in the hand. It is a proper mid-range board, and yes, I'm establishing that now. This is a mid-range board, but again, we'll get into that later. Overall, I do think that this design is more cohesive. It's a lot more fun and it's more intentional. Not, again, super intentional, but I quite like it. I mean, this back weight is really cool. The top right badge is really nice. I actually like it with a smiley face. And I actually really like these two little screens here. They're a little fun. It even has freaking Flappy Bird on it. I don't know. It's just a whole lot of fun. And I can tell the designers just went all out on this. Editor Ansel here. It looks like the whole section for the sound and feel had the audio completely corrupted or something. It just sounded really bad. So I'm gonna redo the whole section here. And before we talk about sound and feel, we have to talk about the mounting styles, which is a gasket mount and a top mount. And I like both. They both have their merits. And technically with the gasket, you can make it harder or softer. I don't see a difference between the two modes. Don't even bother, just choose one and stick with it. I like both for different reasons. One, I like the gasket mounting for the feel because it is a bit softer, especially with this aluminum plate. Despite the flex cuts, it can get pretty stiff. And overall, the board, no matter what you do, is relatively stiff. You can have a soft bottom out, but you're not gonna have a lot of flex or bounce, and that's okay. But in the top mount, ugh, it is so stiff. I do not like it, but that's a personal preference. At least you have the choice. Now, the thing with the sound is they both sound fine. They both sound full, but just a bit dull, I guess. They do maintain some brightness, but it still sounds fine. However, I do think the top mount sounds much better. It's a lot more full, has a bit more body. Gasket mount, on the other hand, sounds fine. It sounds good enough. I think most people are gonna like it regardless. I just don't think it's part of the quote-unquote meta that QK typically aims for. So let's talk value. And honestly, I think this board is somewhat well priced. I mean, it is $240. It's still definitely expensive, but I don't think it's like overpriced or anything. I think it could definitely be cheaper, but not by a whole ton considering how much is going into it. You definitely got to think hard if you want to buy this board. It has a very specific layout, it has a very specific aesthetic, and it's really got to appeal to you. I mean, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, this much money for a keyboard of this caliber, that's not asking for a lot, but in this day and age, it's a lot of keyboard and a lot of money, and you gotta really think about it if this is the one for you. Because again, $240, that's a lot of money. At least in this day and age. We don't talk about what I spent in the past. And yeah, that's the QK101 V2. I really quite like it. It is showing that QK is going in the right direction with what their, I guess, direction should be in regards to design, pricing, and overall aesthetic and identity. It's great. They're really making a name for themselves in that regard, because I really think that before they were just, again, checking boxes, and we don't want that from any keyboard brand. We want a keyboard brand that really deliberately designs and puts a lot of thought into their design. I'm not saying that they don't, but when you are a lot more deliberate, it really shows that you do. But yeah, that's kind of all I got for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope to see you next time, and I hope you have a great day. Peace.